we have a very special guest, actually two very special guests with us in the house today.
Oh, yes. It's Uncle Jim, the sound guy. His dear wife, Michele, is here as well. When you were first getting started, like, you'd almost forget it was on. And then you'd be like, oh no, this is hot mic. What did I just say? And it might have been something fine, or it could have been something really embarrassing. And you were just hoping, I really hope that it's off.
Yeah.
Was it off? No, it probably wasn't.
Oh, it's always on, but it's not always recording.
But you're listening.
But you're listening.
Usually listen.
You probably heard more than you wanted to hear.
I went back for Jana's wedding.
Oh my goodness.
All the little kids are just, holy cow, they've grown up. That was great.
My favorite off-camera moment, because that's all that I have, was at Jana's wedding. And after the wedding, I'm going to tear up. After the wedding, when you were taking family pictures, you had the crew in there with you.
Because you guys are family.
Mm-hmm. That was amazing.
What's going on, guys? We are back for another episode of the Ginger and Jeremy podcast, and we have a very special guest, actually two very special guests with us in the house today. You know him as...
Oh, yes. It's Uncle Jim, the sound guy. And
but
his
you
dear
guys
wife.
know him as Jim, the sound guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
His dear wife, Michele, is here as well. So we are so excited to get into this one because I have been wanting to have one of the crew members on for a very long time. It has been something that we've talked about.
Oh, yeah.
We've said it's going to happen. And now it's happening. So welcome to the podcast, guys. Whoop, whoop.
Well, thank you so much. It's great to be here and reconnect with you guys.
It's so fun. So fun.
We have said, well, Ginger said for years, and then when I jumped on the show, for 6 years, I was on the show, but you were on the show watching Ginger and her family grow up.
That's correct.
And many of the siblings.
You knew me way before Jeremy came in the picture. So we're going to get into all of it today, guys. It's
and
gonna be
I got to
one.
say, you turned out pretty good.
Oh, thanks.
We want to hear your story, how you got involved on the show. We want to get like a behind the scenes. What was the show like from a crew member's perspective all those years? But why don't you kick us off? Tell us a little bit, introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about yourselves, your story. And then eventually we want to get to, like, Jim, I looked up your IMBD and you're on a ton of shows. And probably the most on the Duggars shows over the years, hundreds of episodes. But we'll get into that. So give us a little bit of a biography of the two of you.
Well, I went to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. You understand?
Let's go.
Yes.
Tar Heels.
Yes. And my first job, I moved to Houston. I worked at a television station there, and I was a broadcast station. I worked there for about 11 years. I was on the crew, did audio, and then I worked my way up to director and then production manager. And I got kind of tired of sitting behind a desk, and so I wanted to do stuff. So I moved back to North Carolina, started freelancing, did a lot in the Raleigh-Durham area, doing a lot of commercial work, did some public service stuff, did some a fair amount of corporate stuff. There were a lot of corporate headquarters in the Raleigh-Durham area, and they thought that things they had to say were important. So we taped it, and it went to a shelf, and it probably stayed there, and it's probably still there.
So a lot of people listening are going to think, well, that's just a normal explanation of a job he had. Mm-hmm. And they're not going to hear the deep undercurrent of sarcasm.
It's amazing.
From Uncle Jim. Because
you have to know him.
Yeah, they thought that stuff was important, and you filmed it and put it on a shelf. And
some of these people think they're important. I mean, I remember doing one CEO of a certain pharmaceutical company, and he came in. He was only 40 minutes late, but that's okay because it's his company. And I was putting the microphone on his tie, and don't put that on my tie. That's a $300 tie. Okay, well, how do you want me to put? Never mind. I'll just fake it. So And whatever they wanted, they got, they did it, and they left. And that was it. We did one piece, a public service announcement with the governor of North Carolina. He was late, but we were in his office, and I was playing around with his official stuff, found the state seal of the state of North Carolina. I was stamping my book and all my stuff, and now I have several of those. And then he came in and he sat down, and we had his speech on teleprompter. So he sat down, looked up at the camera, and he said, 3, 2, go. He read it. Fine. The producer said, well, that was real good. Can we do one more for safety? The governor said, was that good? Producer said, yeah. The governor said, okay. And he walked out. So he's the governor. He does what he wants. That's just fine. So people in power.
Hey,
wow, that's
okay, that makes me think, because this is something in showbiz or in any kind of media. The sound guy has the unique job of, you got to get up in people's business and put the microphone.
Absolutely.
You've probably had some fascinating interactions with different people trying to get them mic'd up.
Well, I don't care how famous they are. They probably have bad breath. And
poor sound guys. They got a most awkward situation.
This is what I always thought about. So like with the sound guys, you put the mic on, and if you're in, like, even in reality TV, so you're not just sitting down for like one interview, like with a boom over you.
Right.
And you have that thing connected to you with that mic pack, and you're walking around all day, half the time, or half a day, And so half the time when you're first getting started, like I remember just being like, you'd almost forget it was on. And then you'd be like, oh no, this is a hot mic. What did I just say? And it might have been something fine, or it could have been something really embarrassing. And you were just hoping. I was like, I'm hoping that Jim's not listening. I'm hoping that Bill's not listening. This would be terrible. I really hope that it's off.
Yeah.
Was it off? No, it probably wasn't.
No, it's always on, but it's not always recording.
But you're listening.
But you're listening.
I'm usually listening.
You probably heard more than you wanted to hear.
You hear a fair amount of gossip and commentary that perhaps should not be made public.
As long as it wasn't about you. There was nothing said bad about you.
If you see me going, okay.
You know what's funny is I would look over at you or Bill to see your reactions. Yeah.
Oh,
or he'd just whisper to you. He'd be like, Jim, are you listening? Jim, are you listening?
Yeah.
Copy. Come in.
But, as a professional, you have to be discreet,
Yeah.
I never heard that comment about so-and-so.
No.
Never
and then
said that.
Michele, would he come home to you and he'd be like, did you hear what they said? Oh, my word.
Actually, he did not.
There you go. That's professional of him. Very professional.
Discretion.
You always keep it like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so being the wife of the sound guy on the Duggars show, they traveled all the time.
Yes.
So it was like
all the time.
Weeks at a time, right?
Months.
Well, usually he would leave on a Monday morning and come back on a Friday night. Yeah. But then there were many times where it went for longer than that and was gone on weekends and stuff too. So
there was a season, right, in the height where I guess for some time the crew would come in and you guys had like a place where you would stay. Mm-hmm. And you guys would you had your stuff there, and then you guys were filming all the time, because I think as the family expanded, it's hard for me to like remember exactly what windows of time that was, because I remember us starting out filming. We went from filming maybe like 3 days a week to 4 days a week. And then it went from 4 days a week to 5 days, 6 days. And then I feel like different ones in the family were filming. So I probably wasn't filming 7 days a week, but there were times where you guys were working, just going from couple to couple to different members in the family, or traveling. So I don't remember how long that season lasted, where it was more like intense filming.
I was away from home for extended periods. I felt bad for Michele because, we had 6 kids at home and she was working full time and wrangling the charming children that we had. And
That's a sweet way to put it too.
5
That's a lot.
teenagers. And,
That's a lot.
And a special
Way to go
needs
for
child.
you.
And a
Way
special
to go
needs
for you.
child. And
Amazing.
she did it without complaining
She's a superhero.
much. And, and I got to give her props. She did a phenomenal job.
We want to take a break from this episode to tell you about Nanit.
Do you know where our son, Finnegan Charles, is right now?
He's actually in bed.
And he's being monitored by Nanit. It is the world's #1 smart baby monitor system that allows parents to get, they calculated this, 36 more nights of sleep.
Let's go.
Because honestly, it lets you rest easy. It monitors your child while they're sleeping. It alerts you if there's any change in their sleeping pattern, and it'll wake you up. So it really allows you to rest easy knowing your child is being cared for.
And it has breathing motion monitoring, no wires or sensors needed. Nanit's custom breathing wear fabric pattern is uniquely designed for the monitor's camera to detect the rise and fall of your baby's chest.
Yeah, with sound, motion, cry, and cough detection, Nanit tells you precisely when and why you are needed. Nanit is truly the one baby item we can't live without. Right now, Nanit is offering 25% off just for our listeners. So get 25% off your first order with code BABY25. Go to nanit.com, that's NANIT.com, and use code BABY25 to save. That's nanit.com. Use code BABY25.
We want to take a break from this episode to tell you about Cure.
Ginger has been drinking Cure every single day.
Every single day. So I am all about hydration, and I typically only drink water or coffee. Like, that's it. And primarily, I try to drink a lot of water.
Because it's the cleanest way.
Yeah, and especially in this season, I feel like I keep feeling like I was feeling dehydrated for a while. So I wanted to add in electrolytes, but then I wanted something that was a little bit healthier.
Yeah, and Cure is made with clean ingredients, 0 added sugar, giving you pure hydration without any of the junk, which is everywhere today, right? So only 25 calories per serving, no added sugars or artificial sweeteners, just clean, natural hydration that keeps you feeling energized without a crash.
Cure is doctor approved and safe for the whole family, from adults to kids ages 1 and up.
So for our listeners, for the Ginger and Jeremy podcast, Cure is offering 20% off your first order. Stay hydrated and feel your best by visiting curehydration/ginger and using promo code GINGER at checkout. That's curehydration.com/ginger, and use code GINGER at checkout for 20% off your first order.
Now back to the episode. She's incredible. She really is. I think that's part of it where, we would always think about that. Like, there were times where, we'd be like, oh, so-and-so's traveling or whatever. And yeah, we miss the crew because you guys became like family. And I think I probably will tear up. There's a box of tissues sitting here waiting for me. You guys you are like family to us. I don't even say were, like, y'all are like family. I've said this so many times because it's fascinating how you are professionals, and at the same time, you were in our world so much as kids. So we had relatives, we had friends that would come in, and maybe they lived nearby, but you guys were there for the major life events. I was just showing Michele some of these pictures I pulled up today, and you were there in the jacuzzi when we're fixing our hair in the morning. You're standing there. Sorry, it sounds really bad, but no, there you are. I'm getting my hair and makeup done at my wedding, and you're standing there, and you're cracking jokes because I'm stressed.
Yeah.
And then here you are. You're taking pictures. Oh yeah, the camera. There's the camera. I was trying to find that for you earlier. There's the camera. You're always sitting there behind the scenes because Scott's probably holding little Felicity, it looks like. And there you are on the couch. You're there. This is in Laredo as we're doing interviews. And then there's another picture. This one, where'd it go? One more I was going to show you. It's really sweet because you think about that. You guys were so present for when we're engaged. Look, this is a picture from our engagement. And there you are. That's 2 seconds after we're engaged, right? We come down off the rooftop and we get a selfie with Scott and Uncle Jim. So that's just, it's such an interesting thing to think, wow, like you were more part of our lives than anybody else that I know. Like when I think of friends who have been there, they've been there for a season, then they're gone. There's something so special about the crew because you guys didn't choose to show up. You were hired on. You didn't know what you're getting yourself into. There was a lot of ups and downs. It wasn't all easy, I'm sure, for you. But at the same time, at the end of the day, I look at you guys as family.
Well, that's how I, in particular, looked at you guys. I particularly thought of you guys as family.
Mm-hmm.
I worked on a lot of shows, and a lot of participants in those shows were one way on camera and another way off camera. They were, acceptable on camera, and off camera, they were perhaps not so pleasant. You guys, your whole family, no exception, were completely genuine. What you saw was the way you were all the time. And that really spoke to me as the kind of people you were. And your faith made a whole lot of difference in the way you presented and the way I looked at you guys. And I was proud of you guys.
Aww.
People would talk about you. Well, are they really? They always do that now. I said, no, they are absolutely genuine.
Oh,
I enjoy working for them. They are my friends. I love them like family. I really do. And I still do.
it's so sweet. And I do too. I just think that like having you guys on this podcast is such a treat because I was telling Felicity before you came, she's like, oh, wait, now who's coming? Is it my friends that I told her that it was the crew? And she said, now wait, is it the ones that were in the book? She started watching some, as she calls them, the Duggars. She started watching some of the Duggars recently in the past couple months. We pulled up some old shows and she sees different crew members. So she was trying to figure out which one was coming. And I said, well, you've met them before and, at Jana's wedding or whatever in Arkansas and stuff. So she's like, well, maybe I can look at my memories book and see if they're in there. So it was sweet because she was trying to figure out which friends were coming. But it's interesting because you see, like, we grew up having so many of these interactions. And for her now looking at, you guys, she's trying to figure out like, Mom, now wait, were they there every day? How did you, how are you friends with them? And so she's like, were they there like when you were brushing your teeth? Were they there when you were getting up from, from a nap? And I'm like, well, maybe not then. I didn't nap at 10. But yes, it's that same thing. Like you guys literally were there almost all the time. And it's such a fascinating thing. I don't even know. So,
well, it's a phenomenon that wouldn't ever happen except with reality TV.
Yeah. And I think that probably because we were kids and you guys were in that space, you became our friends so easily because my parents, they didn't know what the crew was going to be like. And we didn't know how long the show was going to go.
And some crew came and went, right?
There were a few,
but then,
there was some turnover.
A couple.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When for you did it become just another job? Because I mentioned your IMBD and you've got a long list. You've done a lot of shows. But when did this become, like you're hearing, and it's really sweet to hear you talk about Jim and the other crew and Michele, but when did you realize this was something more or something where you would look at them and say, I love these guys? And because I'm assuming it wasn't that way on every show, right?
No, it was very much not that way on every show. There were some that I was glad to say goodbye.
Right.
But with the Duggars, I was on the show almost 10 years. And it did not take long for me to figure out that these are real people. They're not putting on a facade for the camera or anything. They are what they seem. And I appreciated that very much. They were, I won't say professional because that makes them sound like, hi, we're professionals on camera. No, they were genuine is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And I could really relate to that. And I enjoyed it. I really liked hanging out with
so
you
fun.
guys.
We want to take a break from this episode to tell you about Rocket Money.
Rocket Money has been a lifesaver for us these days. We have been hit with a bunch of expenses recently, just kind of the normal homeowner stuff. It's that time of year, and Rocket Money has helped us know exactly where our money's going, what's being spent, and where. It's also allowed us to cancel some subscriptions that we didn't know we were paying for.
Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings.
Yeah, Rocket Money has saved users over $2.5 billion, including over $880 million in canceled subscriptions. That's insane. We are paying so much that we don't even realize.
So go ahead and cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/ginger today.
That's rocketmoney.com/ginger, rocketmoney.com/ginger.
We want to take a break from this episode to tell you about Function Health.
Yeah, are you feeling burned out? I know there are times in our life when we feel burned out, and burnout isn't just feeling overwhelmed by long hours or a busy calendar, it's often biology. Chronic stress adds up, affecting our bodies. Beyond just feeling drained, it can increase systemic inflammation and raise the risk of a variety of conditions such as gastrointestinal dysfunction, cardiovascular disease, autoimmune disorders, and neurodegenerative diseases. And I don't know what all of those are, but you know who does? Function Health, and they can locate in your body what's gone wrong and help you fix it.
Yeah, that's why we love Function Health, and I know you guys are going to like it as well. Learn more and join using our link. Function is a near 360 view to see what's happening in your body, and our first 1,000 listeners get a $100 credit towards their membership.
Yeah, so join Function Health by going to functionhealth.com/ginger. Use code GINGER100, that's JINGER 100, and sign up to start owning your health.
And okay, we have to just say this too. Jim was always the comedy relief, because there was some times when it's like, you know, you're doing an interview or it's something comes up or you're traveling and it's a long day, and he would always have a joke. I literally, before we turned the camera on, he said a joke and I finished it.
You've heard it before.
It's because I've heard it before. So I was just telling Jeremy, like, I told him 3 of your jokes. Like, I think it was like, what do you call a cow with no legs?
Ground beef.
Ground beef. Boom. And then it's like, I think there was like one about, what do you call a cow with like 2 legs?
2 legs shorter than the other.
Eileen?
No,
Was it
it's
Eileen?
lean beef.
No, lean beef, but there was
There's what do you call a woman with 1 leg shorter than the other?
Eileen. That was it. See, I didn't get it. Jumper cables walk into a bar and the bartender says,
Don't start anything.
Don't start anything. And when you told that one, I was like, they walk into a bar, but you had like 5 of those.
You said that around the Duggars, Jim?
5 of those.
What are you doing?
Uncle Jim was just
Know
throwing
your
the jokes
audience.
out. But
They're going to go, what's a bar?
I was trying to, introduce them to the real world.
Oh,
the real world through jumper cables. We know what jumper cables are. That's what we lived off of.
That's
We
an
still
interesting
do.
question. When did you start with the Duggars? How many kids did they have?
14 or 15.
Oh, so you were at the start.
At the beginning. He was there.
What
He was there from like right at the beginning.
What was your first impression when you walked in and saw this massive family? What was your first reaction to that family?
Well, I was not unfamiliar with conservative theology. Okay. So I was acquainted with where they were coming from. It's not necessarily that I agreed with all of it, but, like they say, I will respect your beliefs. Okay. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to disagree with you. If you genuinely hold these beliefs, they may be different than mine, but that's your right, okay? And I got to say, as time progressed, very slowly they loosened up, okay? Like, we won't notice, but Ginger's wearing pants, you know?
Is she though? Is she though?
And you know what? It's almost a philosophical question. What is the limit? How much can you isolate your kids from the world, you know? It says in the Bible, you can be in the world, but not of it. That's the choice that every parent has to make for their children as they raise them. My perspective might be different than other people's perspective, but it's their children, their job. And I'm not gonna argue unless they want to start. So
Did you guys, as the crew, ever go back and be sitting in the hotel lobby late at night, and as you were being introduced to the family, or you often filmed at like the Bill Gothard conferences, and would you guys ever talk about it and go, that was so fascinating, or sit there and...
how do I say this? I was probably the most theologically informed of the crew, okay? Some of them were just like, what? What's that guy talking about,
Right.
They all respected the family's perspective, but they didn't necessarily have an understanding of it, a deep perception of where it came from and where it was going. And you got to admit that Bill Gothard, when you first run into him and see him, if you're not familiar with it, it can be kind of, how do you say this? He definitely has a different perspective from mainstream. And if you're not familiar with a background on that, you're going to go, I don't get it. And that's the position that some took. Now, that had not in any way interfered with their professionalism and their attitude toward the family. But it was like, they did not necessarily concur with his particular perspective on a lot of things.
This is another fascinating thought. I was just thinking, how did you have to kind of divorce your own personal opinions from work, especially when things, got more interesting as the kids got older and there were headlines, and then there's international headlines, things got involved, and you're still filming. And of course, everyone has opinions, they have to. So is it like, okay, I'm going to work now, I have to put on my work hat, and I'm not gonna, engage on these, give my opinion on certain things? Was that difficult, or did you have to consciously think that way?
Well, I would get approached by people who knew that I worked.
Right.
And I would pretty much, give the standard, I'm not involved with that. I'm not going to comment on that. That's what's happening in their world.
Yeah.
That's not I may work with them, but I'm not particularly involved in what was going on.
Yeah.
So, I have nothing to offer on that.
Right.
But I think he thought of all of you as family. So he maintained that regardless on the job, off the job.
I love that.
Well, I'll just say, speaking of the guys over the years, and then obviously when Ginger and I got married, and then I got to know you and the other crew, we would have a lot more conversation that you wouldn't have had with a 10-year-old Ginger, right? Like, because you're like not gonna, you're gonna be very professional, and
absolutely.
But then if her and I, as a married couple, wanted to engage you guys and say, hey, what are your thoughts? So we'd have a lot more conversation.
Absolutely.
On that. And it was fascinating to me, like, because each of the different crew members would have had different opinions, and the Duggars are very polarizing. Either you strongly agreed or you strongly disagreed, right? And so you have crew members who have different opinions, and they were all professional. They were all like consummate professionals who did their job phenomenally well. But then they also had a deep love for the family. And so I know there was this tension of, it's almost like a National Geographic photographer sometimes, where you have to think, do I save the rabbit from the coyote, or do I get the Pulitzer picture of the year, or not Pulitzer, the Nat Geo picture of the year, and just photograph what's happening and let nature take its course? And it's like almost in a sense where maybe you're filming some very intimate conversations and, like Ginger said, milestone moments in our lives. And you're seeing family members make decisions, and yet you're there, but you're not there because you're not able to interject.
Well, my position was that unless one of the kids or somebody was in physical danger, you step back.
Yeah.
You allow them, because that's what we're doing. We're presenting them. It's not my take on their actions. It's what they're doing.
Yep.
I'm presenting it. Okay. As a professional, I let it happen unless somebody's going to get hurt. And that's it.
That's good.
Okay. That opens another line of questions, because at some point you did become on-screen talent.
Oh man, he was known, but he was getting recognized more than the family was. They're like, "Oh, who is this? Oh, it's Uncle Jim. It's the sound guy. Jim, the sound guy."
When did
you
you break that barrier?
When you came to Raleigh for a book signing,
Yes,
people were getting him to
they were
sign
getting
the
his
books.
autograph in the book. It was so awesome. That was amazing.
Well, I enjoyed it because, well, by that point, I basically loved the family. I felt integrated with them, both, well, as friends and as family, and I respected them, but I still was able to maintain a professional separation and do my job, from a neutral perspective. But when people would come up and say, "I know you," and, "Yeah, hi," I would always, it was upon me to be nice, to be professional, to be smiling, to do nothing in any way negative that would reflect badly on the family, the show, the production company, on the crew. Nothing like that.
You did such a good job of that. I actually had another picture, which I will have to pull up later, but I think we're at the Alamo. And I took a picture of like 3 little girls coming up around you, and they're looking at you. And then you put your headphones on one of the girls. One of them's holding the boom. And it was just one of those moments where it was really sweet, because you would get approached. And when we were filming, they wanted to meet the family, but they just as much wanted to meet Jim, the sound guy, because it was so cool. And you were very engaging, and you did an excellent job of that. Like with all of your fan base, they're coming up and they want to meet you and talk to you. And so did that happen? Like even when you weren't filming, did you get recognized even aside from the show in your town?
I remember once
I have a story too.
we went
I got to hear it.
to Disney World, and we were doing something.
Forgot about that.
And some lady just looked at me, and she just, and I said, and she just, she didn't engage, but she recognized me.
Awesome. That's so great.
What's your story, Michele?
We went on a mission trip to Hungary this past summer, and there was a missionary there from North Carolina.
Okay.
And so when we were meeting her, and she, we were going around the room, and she looked at Jim and she said, "I know you from somewhere." And I said, "Well, did you watch the 19 Kids and Counting show?" "Yes, that's him."
Wow.
Oh, wow. I love that. Wow. That's incredible. So in another country, you're just like getting recognized. That's amazing. That's so sweet. Man, I'm telling you, it's so crazy how many years I think you were highlighted. So this is how it would go. We're going to piece back to a couple clips of Jim, because there would be something said and we'd all be standing there and they would always just pan to Jim. So like, it's kind of like
the Jim Halpert.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like
Of
here
The
we are, The
Office.
Office.
Yeah.
Like it's someone makes a comment and then
Jim's
over we go, and
reaction
you're
is
just like
deadpan.
over there, and you're like standing in the background with your boom, and it's there's
I
Jim.
remember one. I forget where it was. We were in a metal shop or something, and we're making a tree, and had a metal tree, and
Was that the family tree?
It
Was
might have been. It had a little acorns with all your names on it. And your dad said wow, this looks just like our family tree. And I said, yeah, it's full of nuts. And your dad liked that.
That is awesome. It's classic Jim joke right there. Just throw it in there.
Okay, here's a couple. So we asked the people who listen to the podcast, our listeners, that's what you call them, to send in questions. And there's so many questions for you.
Oh, really?
Get ready.
So many questions. So we won't be able to get to all of them. But Lindsay Florence asked, how did the Duggar family impact your life?
They were a very positive impact, both professionally. One thing, they kept me employed for 10 years, so that's a good thing. They were actually a really good example of a family that walked the walk. You know, they expressed their faith, and they actually lived it. They did not back down, but they were not in your face about it. They did not, even when they had the opportunity, they did not get in people's face and offend them. You know, a lot of people I know who try and spread the word will basically, I think, do a disservice by really offending people, getting in their face, and annoying them, which is, to me, counterproductive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They were a counterexample to that. And also, I've got a whole lot of really good pictures that I love taking pictures. And they're all friends. Like when I went back for Jana's wedding.
Oh my goodness.
All the little kids are just, holy cow, they've grown up. That was great.
You sent all of us, we were talking about this today, because you sent us a thumb drive. Michele reminded you of that. But it was so special. When I opened that up, I was like, oh my goodness, the years of photos from behind the scenes of us filming that you just kept and you stockpiled for us and then sent it to us. I was like, that is a treasure more than, you could possibly put a price tag on, because that's something like we're going to be able to have that, those moments when we weren't able to like take pictures. Cause like we're in the moment, it's fascinating because we're filming, we're thinking, okay, we're just living our lives. But after it's over, you realize how special it was to have you guys there all the time. And we knew it in the moment. We'd always say that, like, we'd always say that the crew was like family and stuff. But then when you're there, like capturing those moments behind the scene. And then when I saw it after the show was done, we were done filming and you sent all of that. It's like a journal entry from all these different moments in China. Here we are in El Salvador. Here we are, like, wherever we are, just, learning to drive. It's like all those moments compiled. It just like makes me emotional thinking about it.
And the reason we did that, and I urged him to do that, was after Jana's wedding, when we went over to the house, your mom was taking us to every room and showing us pictures hanging on the walls of, look, here we are with the crew here, and here we are with the crew here. And, they've got crew pictures, in their house. And that's when he was saying, oh, I've got all kinds of pictures. And, when we came home, I was like, you need to send them all those.
That is precious. It's the sweetest memories.
I sent you guys it was over 500.
Yeah.
And that's about half of what I have.
I want the rest of it.
And just in my own defense, I wasn't taking pictures all the time. I was actually doing my job.
No, for sure. Okay, so this is what I love. Like, Jim, he got here and he's saying hello to all of us, and then he sees an awesome moment and he snaps it. He has a camera. It's not like, it's just a digital camera, a classic. I don't even know. Is it Canon? Is it like a small, like
It's a high-grade small cannon.
Small one. Yeah. So it's amazing. So he just always would have it. And it was like, it was in the sound. See, I should
Sound
know
bag.
what it's called. It was just your gear. And you had that on. He'd wear this. Yeah. It was like a harness thing that he wears, and it carries like the sound where he'd mix the sound.
Bag. And it's
The
heavy.
bag.
That thing was
It's
heavy.
very heavy.
You were carrying that around for 8 hours a day.
Very heavy. Man. And so in there that we always had his camera. And when there were special moments, when there were like things that he wanted to remember, you'd see him in the background. Like I had this one of like interviews, and you're sitting there and you pull out your little camera. And I was glad because it was like, you know, we're already on camera, but you would get the behind the scenes moments like
Yeah,
that.
that's cool.
There you are with your camera. And I just
You
love
through
that.
through the
See
lens
that.
of the crew.
It's amazing.
Carissa, one of our listeners, asked, and then Steph Croker asked two similar questions. Carissa asked, what was your favorite off-camera moment with the Duggars? And then Steph asked, what was your favorite on-camera moment with the Duggars? Or memory, yeah.
Well, he's thinking I can say mine.
I got to hear
I mean,
it.
I wasn't there, but my favorite off-camera moment, because that's all that I have, was at Jana's wedding. And after the wedding, I'm going to tear up. After the wedding, when you were taking family pictures, you had the crew in there with you.
Because you guys are family.
That
You
was
are.
amazing.
Oh, I love that. Because you guys are like I said, you guys have been there more than anybody else has. Even like our closest friends. I think of like I have awesome friend groups here, but it's fascinating because we've lived 10 lives with you guys there. Because it's like, yeah, we were kids, but there was so much life that we lived in those years.
And you know, for Ginger, one of the things that she's wrestled with through the years because of the show has been being able to open up and be vulnerable with people. And you're always wondering, you know, if I share certain aspects of my life, are people going to think less of me or take advantage of that? And I think one of the reasons there's such a deep connection with the crew is because it was completely vulnerable. There didn't need to be that guard because you guys understood it. You were there. So she didn't have to
No
think,
explaining.
oh, should I explain how we went on this trip? Or we had this special privilege because of the show. No, you guys were there in it. And so you could just be yourself.
Well, I think there was a trust between us.
Yeah, that's a good way
We
to put it.
built that trust. On other shows, not so much. But with the Duggar family and the crew, we'd been together. We knew each other. We trusted each other.
Yeah.
For sure.
So favorite memories, Jim?
I've got several memories. I remember you when one morning we were going to shoot some, you guys playing golf. And you came and we were all out there waiting. And this golf cart comes up. And this guy steps out. He's got on this little hat. And he's got on these +4s, plaid +4s,
yeah.
high socks, and, big bow tie. And it's Jeremy. He's just looking like, he's just stepped out of a 1930s movie. And he's killing it. He looks so good.
I dressed up like Payne Stewart.
Yeah,
Could he play golf?
exactly.
Could he play golf? No.
Nope, he doesn't remember. I remember.
He couldn't.
No chance.
He couldn't play.
That was the first time I think I'd ever swung
He
the
dressed the
clubs.
part, but that was his first time.
It didn't matter. He looked perfect.
He did look pretty dapper there. I have
He
to
was
say.
good. He
That's
gave
so
Payne
funny.
Stewart a run for his money, let me tell you.
That's awesome.
That was good. Behind the scenes, well, it was really special, especially when the babies were born, and we got to hold the babies. I mean, that's trust. Here's a bunch of goobers hanging around, and your mom, Michele, lets us hold these little teeny babies. And we're going, oh, hi, just going blah, 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 blah. And they're smiling at us. And that is so great.
And then you got to watch him grow up.
Yes,
Those
we
tiny babies
did.
grow up.
That was great.
Can you even believe it? Like, I mean,
I saw Josie at Jana's wedding going, holy cow. She's she's like quadrupled and 5 times her height. That's amazing.
wild.
Kids grow up fast.
They do.
It's insane. Those are some special memories.
One of our listeners, Patsy, asked about pranks. Did the kids play pranks on you?
There's an occasional. James was not above doing something.
We know where that's going.
Always. And Josiah,
Josiah.
did he play the baby prank on you, or was it on the other
No,
crew?
it was the photographer from People magazine.
Oh my goodness. Bless them.
See, the
Bless them.
People magazine photographer was there. I see, who was it had just been born? I'm not sure.
One of the babies.
One of the babies.
One of them.
And Josiah's got this baby wrapped up in a blanket, and the photographer's taking pictures. We're all indoors, and Josiah's walking over, and the photographer turns around with his camera, and all of a sudden Josiah goes, oh, and he drops the baby. And of course, it's not a real baby. It's just a doll wrapped up in a towel. And this photographer goes,
You almost had a heart attack there.
and big laughs all around, except for the photographer.
I'm telling you, that could have gone real bad.
It could.
It really, really could have not ended well.
Mm-hmm.
That's Josiah. And that was James. James, just those pranksters,
Yeah,
There's always one. My mom probably was trying to put a stop to, like, oh, I'm so sorry. So apologetic. She feels so bad, but kids will be kids.
Oh, yeah.
There was a lot of that.
There was.
Were there times where you saw kids climbing all over things and you're like,
I saw.
ready to catch them?
Was it one of them was trying to build a trap in the backyard? He had this crate with a stick on it. He was trying to build a bear trap.
A bear trap? Was that when were you there when the bear was like in our front yard?
No.
And they said it was like in the valley, like in between the shop and the house.
I heard stories about that.
Yeah.
This guy was, one of them, who was it? Jackson was trying to build a bear trap. He had a crate and he had a stick on it and he had something in there. And he was, it'll pull the meat off the stick and it'll fall down and I'll catch a bear. Like, that's probably not a really good idea.
You're going to catch a little kid in there is what you're going to do.
And he didn't catch anything. I thought he was going to catch a cat.
Oh, no.
But he didn't catch anything.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, what was your favorite Arkansas restaurant? Was there
That's
one?
a great question.
Well, I like the barbecue joint. I have a soft spot for barbecue.
I like it.
Yeah.
Did you like the marketplace?
Yes.
You guys you were probably living next door to that.
We were living next door to that for a while. That was good.
Did you get sick of it?
Well,
Those chicken tenders, the
but
chocolate
they
mess.
had an appetizer, it was a plate of melted butter with bread in it.
Yes.
And you just goop up the butter.
Oh, my word. I forgot about that
Let the
bread.
butter run down your cheeks, and
That was so good.
that was good. I'm sure it was really healthy too.
Wasn't there an appetizer they would light on fire there? Cheese something. There was a cheese appetizer they light on fire.
It wasn't bad, whatever it was.
I don't remember what that was, but I felt like you dipped the bread in that, and that was pretty good.
Wow.
Chocolate mess, though, was my favorite. Marketplace.
Yeah.
What a place.
Wow, what a journey. So you were on the show 10 years in total. What was a normal day in the life of a crew member look like?
Well, let's see. You get up. Scott, the producer, would say, okay, wheels up, 8:30, So you get up, go to the hotel, scrounge whatever they have, And we get in. You get my gear, make sure all the batteries are charged because I, set everything up the night before, charge batteries, line up everything, make sure all the audio, all the sound cards are blank, everything's ready to go, everything's indexed and all that. So all you do, you put it in the van, eat, and we go. We didn't get there till around 9 because perhaps some of the Duggars were not early risers.
Duggar time.
Always on Duggar time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I apologize now.
Okay. And we didn't knock, we just wander on in. And then Scott would say, well, today we're going to be, and sometimes he would just see what's going on, or sometimes we would have a plan.
Yep.
Okay, today we're going to go shopping for so-and-so's birthday. For shopping expeditions, things like that, there would be pre-planning because we have to get permission from the store. We can't just show up and say, hi. We have to get everything set up. They have to expect us. We have to get permission, from corporate and all that. So to that extent, things were planned out, but we didn't have things scripted. That was one show that was not scripted. Okay,
Because we couldn't do scripts. Could you imagine?
Trying to script,
Kids?
6 or 7 little kids, it ain't gonna happen.
No.
So it kind of organically developed, I think, as they would say.
Yeah.
And we'd go, let what happened happen. And then sometimes Scott would kind of encourage it along. We're at the store. Okay, well, for the birthday, do we have candles? Oh, we need birthday candles. And, 6 little kids scrambling around trying to find candles, things like that. So there was some adult guidance, but it wasn't perfectly planned. You know?
Especially in the early days, because you guys would just show up. I remember you guys just showing up and you kind of be like, okay, what is everybody doing?
What are y'all
and they
doing?
would ask, they're like, what are y'all doing? We're like, well, we just want to do what you're doing, actually. So you tell us what to do. But there would be so many of those days, and we could just be sitting there doing our school, or we could be practicing music, or somebody's going off to like fix a tire on a truck and, go like wherever we were headed. You guys would just show up and
we'd
go with
up
us.
to the shop because they'd be working on a car, or John David would be going bam, 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 or something like that. And because these guys were competent, they knew. It is not necessarily that they were planning out how to do something. Well, let's go fix this today. Okay, well, let's go build this. Okay. They could do it. They weren't necessarily following A, B, C, D, but it would get done. And
okay, I do have a question though. Did you ever feel like there was a time where you were like literally in danger? We put you in danger because of something you were trying to get the sound for with the boom? Because there were times where we'd be mic'd, you put a mic on us and you were like, run wild, go do something crazy, jump out of an airplane. But then there were times where we'd be filming another scene and you'd have to follow us. And you're trying to keep up with your boom, and you're trying to like reach over. Yeah, and the bag, which is so heavy. What was the most dangerous situation we put you in?
There wasn't anything particularly dangerous. Sometimes, hanging out the side of a car or a truck, like when we're
Yes.
driving around, looking at, oh, look, there's a camel, well, let's hang out the side of the truck while, Jana's feeding the camel a bagel, okay? But let's hang out and get that, I don't think anybody was ever actually hurt on the show.
Yeah.
Didn't you fall in the water in Greece?
What's that?
You're like, remember that? I'm trying to remember who was in
it
Greece.
Joe and Kendra?
Joe and Kendra were Greece. Okay. I was trying to remember if it was Jess and Ben, but I think that they were somewhere
Paris,
else.
weren't they?
Yeah.
Paris, Rome.
Right.
Jim, I've got a question. Do you think you would ever write a book of your perspective on filming the show?
I'd read it.
Yeah, It would mostly be a book of anecdotes. There's no particular conflict. There's no drama. There's no, except perhaps, when Josie was born, that was the only scary part. But nobody was fighting with each other. There was no anger. There was no friction. There's no conflict, and they say you need conflict for a good book. Well, you could just write stories about it. Okay.
I would love that. You should at least do that for us. For our
Sound
thing,
guy.
you just sit there and just,
An
that's what you can
autobiography.
do as, are you retired now? That's the question.
That's right.
So you can just sit there and write out your favorite
We'll
memories.
put you in touch
your
with
favorite
Ginger's
moments.
literary agent, and we'll get this project moving.
We're going to get it moving. Don't worry, guys.
Jim and Michele, thank you so much for hanging out with us.
It's been great.
This has
Loved
been
it.
so fun.
Loved
Yeah,
it.
trip down memory lane.
Yeah.
Think we're going to have to go for part 2.
Well, you know what we should do is we should pull up some of the episodes that you're in and do a react episode where you're watching
Jim in China.
the show.
I still remember that spider that I ate.
I
Oh
cannot.
my goodness.
Okay, we're pulling that one up. That's on the next
Yeah.
podcast.
We'll have to figure that out.
You guys need to come back to see that because that was
I think it was a little
Disgusting.
salty.
Well, we love you
Yes,
guys.
I wasn't crazy about seeing that either.
no, for sure not. Oh,
You did what?
you weren't sick? What? Did you get sick? I don't know. We'll find out on the
Right,
next
yeah.
one.
Thanks.
Well, thanks for hanging out. Guys, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next week.